Well, hello. So nice of you to join us. We have recording in, and then we have a AI note taker for this call. This call was proposed by Hans, and he said to me yesterday, we're gonna have a call with you today to talk about your purchase of the machine, your background, but also everything that you basically talked about when you're here and visited us in Sollentuna.
Okay.
Am I right, Hans?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
We can start with who we are and what's your background and how we've been related to try to treat people with pain. Because one of the things we have in the Swedish Fascia Convention is the fascia living body, and we have one thing that is it one of 5 that have chronic pain, Ivar?
Yes.
It's a huge problem, and you can't solve it with medications. You must solve it in some other way. So you're the first doctor who has joined us as bought a treatment tool. So what's your name and what's your background?
Okay, so my name is Beate Maul, and I'm an MD from Germany. And I've been trained in scientific medicine first. That was the standard procedure. And I specialized in anesthesiology. So in that, I was interested in pain treatment. And I also specialized in what is called interventional pain treatment. That was in the 90s. So that is injections and catheters and spinal cord things. So very much intervention based. And at the same time, because I was an anesthesiologist, I had my clients always sleeping. And so I wanted to do a different medicine. And I started to train in Chinese medicine in 1985. So that was my first acupuncture course. And through that perspective, I understood that the Western perspective on the body is great with all the findings that we have through scientific medicine, but it's somehow, let's say, limited because we have no concept of energy flow. And that's what I met for the first time when I studied Chinese medicine, because they have all of these ideas around qi. And I lived quite some time, let's say almost the half of my career, 20 years, in that idea that there is a split between the Eastern and the Western medicine. Mm-hmm. That the Eastern, they have these concepts about energy and also spirituality, because Chinese medicine is deeply rooted in Taoism teachings. Mm-hmm. And I had the feeling in Western medicine, we don't have that. And I didn't think that there could be a bridge. But in 2004, somehow a bridge opened, and I found out that when doing acupuncture treatments in patients, there could be really huge changes, and even sometimes changes in, let's say, consciousness. People reporting things that weren't related to the body, but were related to their emotional states, or even they received kind of visions when the acupuncture needles were in. And for me, as a very scientifically trained brain, that was like, what's that?
What's that?
So that was somehow my first steps into like a different realm of medicine. And so I left the job that I had. I was even responsible for the pain treatment in a 1,000 beds hospital in Germany for the post-operative care or chronic pain patients who were there. But I decided to leave that and to investigate a little bit more what is happening if I don't reduce myself onto looking only at the physical level. So I got different other trainings in naturopathic medicine, in a little bit in homeopathy, in different areas. And I opened more and more to a more holistic perspective on the client, on myself, and on medicine. And I started to work in different clinics, a psychosomatic clinic, and then a naturopathic clinic. And I'm still like doing this work. But in like 5 years ago, I discovered breath work. And I got that training in breath work and started to really investigate deeply into the diaphragm. So I had been an anesthesiologist. So I used to give artificial respiration, and it was all about respiration, also for like intensive care, so very, very strongly ill patients. But I had never looked at the perspective of what is like the natural breathing, what is the diaphragm doing, and what has that to do with like all of the circulation, and is there something that is related that I could also explain in terms of Chinese medicine. And through this, of course, I went into research of fascia. And so here we are. I found fascia and really deeply investigated and was more and more amazed about it, and just wanted to know. I found the work of Pollack with a fourth phase of water, the fifth element maybe. And so
we're going to interview Pollack tonight about
the internet then somehow showed me a guide, and that was called the Fascia Guide. And I said, I'm going to check out. And this is how I met Ivar for the first time, reaching out to him and saying, hey, I'm doing all of this research. I'm trying to understand the body from a more like really holistic perspective. And it's interesting. I've read your articles, and that is very much into resonance. What I feel is more and more coming to be like a guiding path in medicine.
Is it more open to do the kind of path you have done in Germany and other countries? Are you more holistic in Germany than we are in, for instance, other countries in Europe, or is
I don't know. It's always said, because if I travel, people say, oh, you're in Germany, you have all of these like naturopathic things. I don't know if that is true, but you know, if you are like me now, a holistic doctor, I'm somehow in that bubble. So the people that I know, they are all into it. But does that mean that that is representative for Germany? I don't know, because I'm aware that I'm like in my bubble. And in mainstream medicine, that is, you see what is paid with the insurances. There you can see what is mainstream medicine going with path. And there is some insurances, they open up and they start to pay for acupuncture treatment, and they open up like with the neuro-onco-immunology. So they start to feel that there's something more than just the physical body, and we cannot fix the body but with only medication or replacement of joints. That's not gonna work. So my career also, when I was a pain specialist, that was like in the 90s. And that was the era when, before in the 70s, they had done surgery on all the back problems. And then we had a new diagnosis, and that was failed back surgery pain syndrome. So that was my clients at that time in the 90s. So I got already a little bit informations that maybe somehow we need another perspective.
And then you went to, so last week you went to Stockholm and met up with us, and it's quite interesting to see. I think it's interesting to see how well you were at reading the body and the misalignment, and to see the whole body. It was quite interesting actually to see. What did you think about the meeting with our Åke and the other guys?
Yeah, I liked it because, you know, I bought the machine. That was, I had the feeling that there's something, and I just wanted to try it. So I bought the device, and then I tried on myself, and I had the feeling, there may be something more like a procedure or something, how to use it. So this is why I called Ivar again and said, I just want to know, how do you use it? I followed my knowledge about meridians and starting not where the pain is, but like far away from it, like you put an akupuncture needle in the foot when you want to treat the head pain, the headache. But I had the feeling that there is more to it. So that was why I came. And like eventually I came a day that there was a beautiful training in your center. And that was just perfect, even though I don't speak Swedish, but I could follow with my eyes and my intuition. And okay, sometimes like gave a little English hint when he saw in my face a question mark. So I could really follow the instructions and experience also being treated, because before I'd done self-treatments with a machine on myself, and there's a difference if somebody else holds the machine, for example, to the feet, and you can feel really, you can relax into it first, and then you can feel the vibration really rising from the feet through the body. And I've done it since several times, and I could also feel where is the vibration going to stop, where my fascia is like tight or has been, I don't know, that has been crystallized in a certain way, so is dense, and where the vibration doesn't go through as smoothly as in other areas. And that's interesting. That is often related to areas where I had felt pain. Yeah, so these insights were interesting, and the group, of course, was joy. Really nice people, and exchanging and seeing what a journey brought them to be there at that time, and to willing to work with a machine. Why do they want to work with it? Because they had personal experiences where that helped them so much. Yeah.
But how is the sort of coming into this and being an anesthesiologist, and also, you know, bringing in the Chinese medicine, doing everything, you know, in the 90s and the early 2000s, and then coming into this, and now you stumble upon fascia, you stumble upon everything. It's quite a journey. How is that? So what have you learned along the way, and what is your sort of insights when having read that so much and going from that, you know, Western scientific point of view with that perspective, but also bringing that sort of ease and stuff that you are combining now, and also with fascia, and concluding that with, so your sort of interest in machine, going to Stockholm, because that is quite, you know, out there for some people, and you say, okay, this and this and this and this, but what are your like insights along the road to your understanding now of the body, and what you can do with the patients that you meet that have maybe like chronic depression or different anxieties, stuff like that as well. So please tell me a little bit more about that.
I think like I related very much when I saw your videos to looking at the body, or the whole, let's say, not only the body, but a human being as a living system, alive and self-organizing. And in Western medicine, even in Chinese medicine, we have these fixed principles in a certain way, and we want to implement that onto the human being. And that may be not the good approach. If we have the approach that the human being or the client that comes to see us is like a fully independent, completely self-organizing, and ultimately wise being. I also like to say consciousness, even divine consciousness, incarnated. So maybe there's a different wisdom there. Maybe there's a different approach to like treatment, because of course we do interact, but if I come from a perspective of wholeness, also of the other, then I will not be the one who knows everything. I come more from a point of curiosity. What is it that is shown to me, and how do I relate, and how does it resonate inside my system? And I can then give ideas. I can like tell of my long experience of 40 years of being a doctor, what I have seen. And then the other one can relate to this and can see, is that something that he or she is in resonance with? And I can follow that flow. And I have done that a lot in my counseling. But what I saw when I did the sessions with Hans, you can do that also in a certain way of like talking to the body and waiting for the body to give an information, like as when we help the legs to see, okay, the leg will relax, and then the client would tell something about a trauma or a conflict or something that was uncomfortable. And the reaction in the body would completely change. The body would tell me, oops, the leg went stiff like this, like an iron stick. Yeah. So it is more a dance, let's say, like of two consciousnesses that are open to receive what's going to unfold in that very moment. And that's a very different perspective than being the one who has to know it all and who has to prescribe the correct drug or the correct procedure. Yeah, I think that is what is the main insight that I got along that path. Yeah, and
so
it's
having
really,
that sort of curiosity about other human beings and seeing where does it lead without having a like fixed schedule. Okay, now I'm gonna do this. Now I'm gonna do this. Instead of having that experience and having that knowledge to help the client in front of you in the best perfect way or most optimal way. Maybe it can be a discussion as you're into. Maybe it can be a treatment. Maybe it can be acupuncture. Maybe it can this, because the body's gonna like show. It's gonna reveal itself along the way, basically.
all the body, the emotions that come up, and the mental information that the client receives, like all together. Yeah, not having a fixed construct of what is in front of me. Who am I? Like,
yeah. It's like a dance. You have to follow the body and see what the body wants, or the person in front you want to, and how far you can go, because it can be stopped. It can be not more, too much. So it's interesting.
But basically what you're explaining now as well is just meeting of people and being sort of open and creating that sort of safe space within a room where everyone is just there to help and to be, I wouldn't say in lack of other words, sort of a guide in their own like health progress and experience and what they have been doing. But that sort of comes also from the openness and the safe space that you created within that room, and having all that knowledge and sort of picking up everything almost like an iCloud. So you're picking down the things that is needed in the moment and sort of trusting your intuition and trusting the feeling that you have with another person in front of you. So it basically is common like people skills in sort of reading, and not reading like, oh, this is what should be, but you're reading the sort of the person that you have in front of you, or reading the room even.
I sometimes use, when I try to describe it, the words of like the inner healer. So to get into contact with that, what is in everybody, and to have like also the patience. The patient should be on my side, not the patient is the patient one. Yeah, I'm the patience that waits for that inner wisdom to show up. And I think if a client experiences something like this, that is way more transformative than me telling somebody how it should look like, or
Well, great. Do you have anything else, Hans?
No, I think it's nice to hear your journey and to see that How long do you think it will take before it changed, that everybody knows what fascia is?
I don't make these assumptions because, I've been studying consciousness a lot.
Yeah. And
consciousness is something that is so vast and so unknown, let's say, that I don't think that it will follow linear time as we understand it. And I think you share that knowledge that in all of the old spiritual traditions, we have the understanding that time is an illusion.
Yeah.
Everything is, but for our mind, it's very difficult to grasp. But maybe there is, how do you say this? Jumps in consciousness. Maybe it's suddenly, and then if there's a ripple effect, then yeah, it can be very, very fast.
Yeah.
But I don't
let's
know. I hope so, because I think that it is really, for myself, I can only talk about like the last 3-4 years where I started to study, and there was so much information coming, and sometimes I'm feeling, now everything falls into place. All that I've gathered in these 40 years of being a doctor falls into a place and starts to make sense. And that is beautiful also if you look at the tensegrity model of fascia. Yeah, it is not some stable thing, but it is like a web, and it is all the time moving and structuring itself. And if you pull on one string, it will change the whole thing. Yeah, and yeah, so I think consciousness is a bit like this.
But I was also thinking, because you came here on Thursday, and then we had introduction to the course that we have. We also had a lot of clients that day. It was like a very busy 2 days that you came to visit Stockholm. And then we talked about the convention and everything that we're doing with the living body and the scientists that we have talked with and are interviewing and that are coming to this event. And then you said, I need to come in June as well, on the course and on the event itself. What was your sort of interest when learning about the convention that we're hosting that made you feel like, okay, I need to come again?
Yeah, well, for the course, it was clear for me because I had the feeling, okay, here's steps to take so that I can deepen my understanding how to use the machine and how to combine that with what is already here. And for the convention, it was like, I just want to be with people, like-minded people who share, because when I talked to Hans, I told you, Hans, I was saying, I've been seeing you on the internet with all the videos, and also you, Eva, with the podcast. And then I was there and I thought, oh no, I'm sitting with these famous people from the internet and I'm having a chat. And it felt like family. Yeah. I don't have to explain long term what I sometimes do have with other people, my perspective on life. I just felt, okay, yes, they understand what I'm talking about. And then I went to the website. I didn't know about the convention. I hadn't seen it, or maybe I have seen it, but it was like, oh, again, a travel, flight booking, hotel stuff. So my system said, But after having been with you, I thought, okay, what is it? Yeah, okay, it's a bit money I have to take in my hands, but I want to be there. And I read also who is talking. Yeah, and I followed the work of Pollack a lot. I also loved his last article where he discusses if we're not breathing oxygen. That for me was, and it's so, I don't know if his new thesis is correct or if it's, we have, but it's an investigation, and it is worth that investigation. And if you start to, I have investigated a lot work around the heart. With HeartMath and the Greg Braden thing, where I'm a breath facilitator, and the heart is not a pump. That I already know since a long time, but how does it work? How does the blood move? Why does it move? And what is the role of the heart? And all of this is, I have the feeling that there's a new science emerging, a really new understanding, and let's call it science, because science has also its value. Some people are more in the naturopathic area. They somehow push back science, but like real science is curiosity. And I didn't tell that story, Ivar. When I came to Stockholm, on my flight to Stockholm, to Arlanda, I sat down and I had a young man, like your age, 32 years old, next to me. And I had a feeling, it's a beautiful soul. So I started to talk about fascia, like random on a plane. And this young man, he started to ask questions, more and more and more questions. And then sometimes he said, are you okay with me asking questions? And I said, you have a chance today because I love to share. So yes, please ask me. So he went on. After, let's say, half an hour, I said, okay, let's stop for a minute. I have told you so much now. Can I have a little information about who you are?
Yeah.
And he said, I'm a neuroscientist. And I have been a physicist before.
Oh,
So
amazing.
crazy. And then I asked him, and you have a mala around your neck.
Yeah.
So what is this about? And he said, well, we just had that as a gift with a brother of mine and me, and I like it. I like to wear it. So that was a young man. He was very warm-hearted, very open, not very like big spiritual path or anything, but he was spiritual in that way that he was so curious and so loving and so interested and so honest. He had been working for the Karolinska Institute, science, and he said his chef there was only into publishing, pushing pharmaceutical industry, pushing, and he left that job, and now he is at oh, I forgot. I knew the town on the other side of Sweden.
Malmö or Gothenburg.
Yeah, that's it. And now he has a different chef, and they are doing real science, investigating depression and schizophrenia. So I could talk about, for example, New German medicine to him, the perspective of New German medicine on the brain and what schizophrenia is and how it comes. There is this imbalance from the right and left hemisphere and all of these theory. He was completely open to it, had never heard of it, but open. Beautiful soul. So 2.5 hours flight went like 10 minutes.
Yeah. But that is also what you said, just being around like-minded people, having that sort of conversation and having that sort of curiosity as well and openness to new stuff, because yeah, we know that there's a problem, we know that there's an issue, but you need to sort of have those discussions, have that curiosity, and also that is sort of what the convention is for, bringing that curiosity and knowledge and science, as you said, up until there and see where it can go, where it can fly, almost like a helium balloon even. Just to see, because you can't hold it down, you need to let it sort of flow away and see what innovations and thoughts and curiosity come from that as well. And that sort of sparks the interest, and that what fascia brings with this, and be gathering all those people and all those innovators in one in the same place to sort of get that out. And you need more of those kind of forums, more of those, on the plane to Sweden conversations. And that is what we're hoping with convention as well.
Yeah, a think tank.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having this call with us. And well, I don't know that if you're having a red day or not, but yeah, we are having that at least. So very happy that you could join us.
It's Christy Ascension today.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's a beautiful day.
Yeah. Talking about fascia curiosity and openness and mindfulness. Yeah.
and change.
Change
that is possible, and that can even be possible at a very, very fast or rapid pace. We don't know.
I can send you. I didn't get your email, but I send you email about xylitol and the consciousness that has been changed in that kind of molecule.
Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Beate. Have a great day. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.